Hi guys, here we are with Beatrice. Tell us a little bit about yourself and the company.
Hello, so my name is Beatriz Albo. I'm the founder of Sabor de Amor. In Spanish means the flavor of love. I started the company as a hobby in 2014, going to farmers markets and trying to see what the public thought of my sauces. And then I registered as a proper company in November 2018. So we've been going nearly 10 years as a hobby, but really about 5 years since we set up properly the company. And then we do the range of sauces and condiments that you can see here. So we go salsa brava, paella, alioli, and tapenade mainly, as well as we do some of them for food service.
Oh, well done. So what got you into the food Oh, sorry, good food is?
Good food for me is that food that you remember, that food that brings memories of either you cooking together, like it's one of the passions we always had as a family, in the kitchen, all contributing, having a laugh, listen to music, and or those kind of food that I remember from when my grandmother and my mother, the birthdays, all those food for me are good. Of course, when I go to restaurants, for me, it's the most important. The quality is good. So, but yeah, the memories attached to the food that bring you back constantly, and you want to eat them again to have that memories again, bring them to you.
That's yeah, that's cool. I've got a few meals like that. That's really interesting. Right. Love it. Okay. So what got you into the independent food industry?
So I came here 31 years ago to North Wales, and it was just to study. So I became a scientist and I was working in research. And as I set up my family, I noticed one of the things the moms and the dads always said was, oh, it's Friday, I don't know what I'm going to make. I'll do maybe Chinese, Indian takeaway, pizza. And I thought, really, there isn't any range of Spanish food, considering how many people go on holidays to Spain, all the British since the 60s. And then I thought, God, tapas will be so easy. Paella will be so nice, tasty, it's colorful food. It's things that attached to memories of holidays in Spain, of good time, of fiesta. And so, yeah, because I was brought up in a family that had a restaurant in Salamanca, where we're from, my grandparents, my parents, we all help and we all live through running around the restaurant. So I thought, all the sauces I do, and the friends and my children's friends came over quite often and said, you have to sell these sauces. Can you make me a jar of this? And I thought, oh, well, there is maybe a market for this. So that was my own market research to start the business.
Nice. So what's been a high point and a low point in the company?
I think the high point, without doubt, there are many, but definitely was when I was selected to take part in the television series in BBC with Tom Kerridge. It was called Top of the Shop, and it was aired in 2018. I think to be able to sell paella sauce in Yorkshire, which I love it. We go on holidays quite a lot there. I love it. But the Yorkshire people have a very, quite right, attached to their own food, their own drinks, everything that is from Yorkshire. And competing against a chili sauce, an Indian sauce, and a caramel sauce that are very familiar to the British, for me, was like, like an alien, really. And at that moment, I thought, right, when I won that, that was a high point, because I thought, if I can actually make my sauce stand up and people love it, I felt really proud. And of course, seeing myself on the telly and all the family around that was the high point. As for the low point, I think, like for many people, you start the business and you do all these seminars where they tell you, you go up, 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 and suddenly, like, there is a point that suddenly, for no reason, drop. And I thought at the time, that's impossible if you're going up, 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 getting listed in more places. But then that low point hit me in 2021, because we've been everywhere. We listed, thanks to you, in Whole Foods, in Partridges, that for me were like really amazing key food areas. We have been in Ocado, Future Brands in Sainsbury's for 10 weeks. But suddenly I realized I hadn't been to see my family in Spain for about 4 years because of the COVID. And then I don't know how, because I'm a very outgoing person, I'm very positive, I hit rock bottom. And then I have to leave my unit as well, because at that point I did feel like I was inside a space that it was dark and not really me. So that was a very low point in my business. And I realized how important it is to have the family support and see them So yeah, that was my low point.
Oh, wow. One thing that you would do differently if you could start again?
I do say this quite often, and I'm sure for people may think is good, but for other people it's not so good. Running a business by yourself on your own sometimes can be a curse, because you have nobody to share. Well, you do. You share constantly with your family and friends, and they get fed up. And at some point, they're just thinking, okay, can we talk about anything else that is no business? And for you, it's your baby, so you're so excited. You want to share all the time. You want to ask for advice. So I think maybe if I start again, I will have a partner. I know that having a partner, you have to agree on many things, share the good and the bad, but I think that will support will probably be very helpful. So something I will do will be that.
Interesting. So what one bit of advice were you given at the start that you would disagree with now, and one that you would agree with?
Okay, so there are many advice that I've been given and that I disagree, but that is just me. So
Yeah.
when you start a business, everybody seems to have an opinion about you should sell this, you should add to this source this, you should call it like that. Oh, this doesn't, why don't you sell this other thing or this other thing? And for a while, I did start it. So the point that when I was going to food festivals and markets, I will have so many Spanish products that I was importing from Spain, as well as my sauces, jams. And at that point, I thought, hold on a minute, this is something that is not really me. It's not what I want to do. So that advice for me is you have to trust yourself. Doesn't matter how much advice they give you. If it doesn't actually, if it's not you, then don't do it. Even if at the end is wrong and you think, oh, I should have done it like they said. But if it's not you, it's going to be a conflict inside that's not going to let you be yourself when you're actually approaching customers or running the day-to-day business. So that's an advice that I will disagree with.
I think it was my mum that said years ago that you ask people for advice and you collect the advice from everybody, and then you make a decision yourself. But
That's very wise.
quite a lot of people take advice and then follow the advice to the latter, rather than use it as an information sourcing exercise
Yes,
to gather data, for want of a better word. And then from all that data, from all the information you've gathered, you then make a decision on your own.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
fascinating.
very true. That's very true. And the other one, the one that they give me, and I agree, and actually that's related very well, because when I started the business, when I started having the idea, my partner Paul bought me, your mom, Margaret Carter, did at the time this thing for Patchwork Pate tour, that you will go have a chat with her, taste the pates, show you the premises, and have a chat. And he bought it for me as a present. And to be honest, I think is one of the best presents I ever had. Not only because I got to meet your mom, but also the advice she gave me. And one of the things she said I remember very well is like, you have to think what you want to be. You can't be everything. So now you're starting, you're doing everything, but at the end you have to think about, do you want to make the social? Do you want to do the marketing? Do you want to be the contact with the public? And I thought at the time, but I thought a business is run like that. You do everything. And then it comes to a point when you realize you just can't. You have to delegate and you have to do other people to do things. But the other advice as well she gave me, I know it may sound very simple for many people, but Spaniards, we have a reputation for being late. And I remember I have a second meeting with her I said to her, I'm doing this sausage. Do you want to taste it? No, come in January, yeah. And I had my daughter at the time, she was very young, I think it was 4. And she had to come with me. And you know what children are sometimes, throw a tantrum, they didn't want to. I was about 10 minutes late. And when I arrived, she was not the same woman I've met before Christmas. And he was like, you can't do this. I've got my things to run. I'm busy. And I thought that was so helpful, because he said, if you're going to be late, ring. Just tell the person, look, I'm going to be running whatever late. And I thought, never imagined that was so valuable, because it's
Yeah.
true. Time is money. And you could be doing something else rather than sitting and waiting. So ever since, no matter who it is, I'll ring, I'll text, I'll let them know, look, I'm going to be running late. So that was very, very valuable. And one more thing that is very useful as well. They told me, when you borrow money, make sure you borrow just what you need. Don't borrow more than that, because then when you have to pay back later, that is quite a struggle. So yeah, just what you need.
That's funny, Mum. Obviously, that's funny, the link with Mum.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, she's always been a stickler for on time, and if you're a minute late, it's it's interesting. But yeah, I've always been on time. but yeah, and I think that's so. There we go. Both
It's a
had the influence of Margaret
Yeah,
Carter. So there we
definitely,
go.
100%.
Brilliant. Um, what? So I lost my track there. What
Sorry.
food brand do you admire the most, and why?
Okay, I thought about a lot about for years. When people ask me this question, what brand did you actually inspire you? And of course, there are many influence and inspire me. But there was one I even nowadays when I go to give some talks to children in college and for them to become entrepreneurs. I always tell the story of the innocent, the smoothies, the
Mhm.
drinks. And I remember because at the time when they started, I had my son, 1997. But I remember something they said about how they were three students, they met in uni, they all have different skills, and how they went to this music festival. And the way they market it is like they put just one question. Do you think we should give up our jobs because they were
Mhm.
already working? And they put the bucket, we say yes, and the bucket they said no. And
Mhm.
they asked people to drop the actual caps on the yes, on the no. And they counted it at the end and they realized it said yes. And I thought, what a great idea at the time when data research, you'll have to do inquiries. There was not that much internet to do that. But also the fact that they approach apparently every bank, every angel, everything that they could to get money, and everyone said no, no. And they decided to send an email to all their friends and family saying, do you know anybody who is rich? Do you know anybody? And that's how they started. And I thought, wow. And then, of course, I do think I remember very well my son will always draw to those drinks because they have the little knitted hat on top
Yes.
on the cup. So I thought in many ways that brand had it all when there was not so many resources like we have now. So I think that was brilliant way to tell you that you don't need a lot of money. Well, you do need money, but you don't need a lot of marketing or a lot of things to actually have the idea if it's a good business, if you could do it.
Really interesting. Yeah, cool. Ronnie had Innocence as well. So yeah, very, very inspirational company
Yeah.
for sure. So guilty food pleasure.
So I got to guilty food pleasure. Being a Spanish, it has to be one of the Spanish food I always go for. And it's gonna shock you because it's not churros, although I love churros as well. But it's called bocadillo de calamares. So bocata de calamares. It's like a big crusty piece of bread or a small baguette. And you put calamari, nice hot calamari, and you drizzle with alioli or with mayonnaise. That is absolutely my fave since I was a student. It was one of the things we'll go for a snack at midday. But the other guilty food pleasure that I have in this country and everybody knows is chocolate fudge cake with hot chocolate sauce and vanilla ice cream. That is just my indulge one. And
Right.
even for my birthday, so any meal I go to, if the restaurant hasn't got it or the pub, I get
Uh-huh.
really close. Yeah.
Nick and I went to watch Spider-Man with an orchestra last night in Bath, and we went to Nando's, and they messed the meal up. And as a sorry, they said you could have a dessert. And the first thing she said was fudge cake, and I went, that's it. You don't need to list any others. Whatever it is below fudge cake. So
Yeah, me
yeah,
too.
I got a lovely
That's
piece of
good.
fudge
Yeah, I
cake, so
love
that's
it.
good. That's amazing, amazing. I'm going to just quickly talk about the products behind you, just quickly while you're here.
Yeah. So with alioli, they're all naturally vegan and gluten-free, so they haven't got any. Alioli is a great, instead of mayonnaise, it's like a mayonnaise without egg, and it's got garlic, and it's great to go with fish and chips or with really just chips, or fish and chips. I always put and I go with lime, just without lime.
I've got one
Tapenade,
here, so we're going to have
that's
fish
it,
and
yeah.
chips on Friday.
Honestly, with
There we
fish
go.
and chips or dipping
Mhm.
chips. I've got a friend who said he just grabs the whole jar and dip all the chips in there. So very good. Tapenade, obviously, is like an olive pate, and it's great to put on a crusty bread or add it to pizza because sometimes people don't like the black olives on the pizza. But if you put tapenade and it smooths in and blends with the sauce, it's amazing. Paella, the star, obviously, with that got me through. So 20 minutes to make paella, and with the calaspara rice is really good because it comes from sustainable fields in Murcia. It's a family business. And salsa brava, I always say salsa means sauce in Spanish, but it's not like the salsa that you use for the Doritos, for the tortilla chips. It's a rich tomato sauce with a hint of chili. So it's great for patatas bravas, obviously, with potatoes, but also with chicken or drizzle over Doritos, tortilla chips to make nachos or as a pasta sauce. It's really good and easy. to add.
Amazing.
Things
We
also.
made the paella. It's really, really nice. And
Oh,
we've got the rice now as well. So we're going to
yeah,
make one
good,
very shortly.
excellent.
So,
Oh,
so
good.
just quickly to end, tell us quickly about the food club, how it's been and what you found.
The food club has been for me, I mean, as I said earlier on, we go parties, we go Whole Foods, we go some of the lovely delis in around London. I couldn't travel. I run the business myself on my own, so I couldn't really go to so many places. But one of the things I really love about this is you and the artisan both. So you is like, you're so approachable. I can actually ask you anything, anytime. I love when you send me like a video call, like quickly a video, because I'm very visual. I don't like, although I talk a lot, I'm very visual, and I catch things better if I just have a little chat or send you a clip. And also the fact that because the way it is run, the food club, I get to know where my products are, because very often with other distribution companies, you don't know where you are. And sometimes it's embarrassing when people ask you, what can I get in near me? And I think, oh, I don't really know, because there may be some, but with you, I know exactly where I am every time. So yeah, that's what I like. Very approachable, that you are very helpful. You are a bundle of knowledge on everything. The first time I saw you, it was on a video that I think you posted, that you took part on Bread and Jam, and you gave a speech, and you talk about all the margins, how you have to make sure that you contact the shops, follow up every week. And I thought, wow, this guy's amazing. And then I realized you were Margaret's son, and I thought, of course, he has to run in the family. So yeah,
Nice.
very, very good.
Brilliant. Beatrice, it's been amazing. Thank you so much for your
My
time.
pleasure.
Really nice. I love the fact you had the products behind you as well. That's
Thank you.
fantastic. Thank you so much, Beatrice, and we'll speak soon. Cheers.
Yeah, take care. Bye.
Bye.